I am a sucker for retro games that push the nostalgia buttons of franchises I grew with. Today we're going to talk about a game that pays homage to 2D top-down Zelda games from the Game Boy era, and that manages to push those nostalgia buttons in the right way. Hi everyone, my name is Jeremy and this is my non-spoiler review for Saga of the Moon Priestess for the PS5. The game was developed by Pixel Trash and published by East Asia. Saga of the Moon Priestess follows the story of Sarissa, a young hero who is tasked with rescuing the prince of Lunaria, who has been abducted by an unknown assailant. Now it's up to you to find and rescue the prince. In terms of visuals, I would sum up the visuals of this game by saying that it's pixel art style and that it looks like a Game Boy Color game. And not only do the visuals look like a Game Boy Color game, the music sounds very retro and Game Boy inspired. In terms of the gameplay, this is a top-down action-adventure game emulating 2D Zelda games. The gameplay focuses mostly on fighting enemies and solving simple puzzles. Puzzles never get way too complicated, they are kept simple from beginning to end. The objective of the game is to save the prince who has been abducted, and in order to do that, you need to explore the land, find the dungeons, acquire the key items and use them to progress the story forward. Similar to the original Zelda game, you are dropped into the world and have to figure out what you have to do on your own. The game features around 5 dungeons and they are all themed differently, and each dungeon features different type of monsters. Each dungeon has a boss and a new key item to add to your arsenal. These key items that you add to your arsenal go from gloves to carry rocks, bow and arrow, bombs, among many others. You can use these to find new paths and secrets in the overworld. Each dungeon has a map and a boss key that you need in order to reach the boss. You will need to use your newly acquired key item to defeat the boss of the corresponding dungeon. After each boss, you will acquire a goddess tier which will increase your maximum life, and you can also find beads, which are the currency of this world, to buy items in the town. Boss and monster designs are very basic, but get the job done. Monsters go from scorpions, jellies, balls of fire, skulls, among others. The game takes around 2 to 3 hours to complete. So let's talk about the pros and the cons of this game. I'm gonna start with the cons. Basically, I have 2 complaints about this game. First of all, it's the map. When you find a map in a dungeon, I found it to be a little bit conflicting because you cannot distinguish which rooms you have already visited and which rooms you have not. Once you find the map, the entire map is revealed and there's no way to distinguish one thing from the other. So you'll have to use your memory in that aspect. And to me, that was a little bit annoying. It's just a quality of life thing. It's very small. It's not something significant. The other thing that I would complain about is the character movement, which I found to be very slow. Obviously, the game is emulating retro Game Boy games, but I found that to be pretty annoying because the character moves too slow from point A to point B. But all around, I have to recognize that these are minor complaints. In terms of the strong points of the game, first of all, the retro feel. The game nails the feel of Game Boy games and it's just a nostalgia-induced experience. Besides that, the other thing that I would like to point out as a strong point of this game is the intuitive game design. The game basically drops you into the world and trusts the player to find out what you need to do. If you have played Zelda games in the past, you more or less have an idea. But honestly, throughout the entire game, I had no trouble finding what I needed to do next. And even inside the dungeons, this intuitive game design carried over and it was incredible. I always knew what I needed to do just by looking at what was in front of me. And I think that this intuitive game design really shines in the final dungeon, where you need to use all of your key items to try and complete the dungeon, and it was a blast. So in conclusion, Saga of the Moon Priestess succeeds at paying homage to the retro games that inspired it, and manages to give the player a familiar gameplay experience. While there isn't anything here to blow your mind away, it's still a good offering, especially for the low price. For this reason, I recommend Saga of the Moon Priestess for the PS5. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! Hi everyone, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with our content.